Thank you, David. Let's look into the stories making headlines on the papers right now in Nigeria. I have with me in the studio to do justice to all of this, public affairs analyst Olade Indiario, as well as Shijibomi Adebi Bennett. Gentlemen, good morning. Nice to see you both.
Governance shouldn't be about figures and statistics.
Oh, well, but statistics will always reflect what is on ground. That is what it's supposed to be.
When they are true and fair.
Okay. Let's start from News Direct. News Direct says, while we are upbeat on 3,005 megawatts Mambila power project, that's the BMO is saying this, as Buhari approves the Interministerial Steering and Project Delivery Committee. All right, the Mambila project is still on the news. Daily Times is next now. Ganduje, Tambowal, Otom, 3 others, no fate today. A Supreme Court delivers ruling on appeals. Tension in Otom Jime's camp in Makurdi in Benue State. Okay, that's what you see on the Daily Times. From there, let's go to the Blueprint. Perjury. I was tried but not convicted in the U.S. The Deputy Senate President, Omoagege, is saying this. Quit office now. Coalition of Youth CSOs insist. Okay, that's still ongoing there. Daily Trust is where we go next. Nigerians to pay more taxes as Buhari signs finance bill. An income tax, electricity tariff to go up. We have the lowest VAT rate in Africa. Experts are saying this. Okay, all right, you'll certainly be looking at this sometime soon too. The Nation is where we go next. And the Nation says 7.5% VAT kicks off as Buhari signs finance bill. TIN now compulsory for bank account holders, and implementation to wait till Gazette. Okay, that's still there, finance issues. Then Vanguard is the last paper we're looking at now. 50 years after, let's revisit issues that caused a civil war. Go on, Shoyinka, Anya, Utomi, Akintoye say war is horrible and Nigerians must never fight each other again. That is what the story here says. And certainly that is where we start from this morning. The Vanguard is beaming a searchlight on the Nigeria Civil War 50 years after. Just
none of you was here.
No, we're not here. We're not born. But we read about it. We watched some videos and clips and all of that. Really a terrible experience from what we gathered. Now there was a conference, Never Again conference, that was held. Professor Patutomi, Professor Wole Soyinka, and the others were there, and a lot of people talked about the issues of the Civil War. Have we really learned our lessons from the Civil War? Although there was the issue of the no victor, no vanquished issues, the 3 R's and all of that. But at least you were present.
I was here.
You saw how everything went down
and after school
and all of that. But talk to us basically. Have we really learned our lessons to say never again? Just like Rwanda said never again and they moved on.
You want a sincere answer. We are far more divided today than we were then.
Wow.
Yes. You see, the issues of marginalization, ethnicity, tribalism, they were not so pronounced as they were. In 1984, 85, when I was serving, I met an Hausa girl, Hassana. We were supposed to date and marry.
Okay.
She took me to their village in the north. The moment they saw me and he said, I'm Yoruba man, Christian, Ngbati, and all of that, I had to come and sleep in Kaduna that day. I couldn't stay. The hostility was so visible. That was 85. Today, are we any better? We have allowed election to decimate and destroy the bond of unity and friendship that we have built over the years. That at every election, you know these things, there's always the drums of war. And I have repeatedly said it, that we prepare for election here as if we are preparing for war. Year in, year out, it keeps getting worse. So there's a fundamental disconnect which we have not been able to get right and align.
Okay. Now, Shijibumi, the point there is you were not here, just as I wasn't here. No, I think I was at the civil. Okay, sorry, I wasn't here. No, I just wanted to get your reaction on that. Yeah, you weren't here as I wasn't here. But the point there is, I know you read about it just like I did, studied it just like I did, and watched videos and write up of accounts of those who were there, like former President Olusegun Obasanjo, General Yakubu Gowon. A lot of all of these people had something to say, and we got all of those. Now, if you compare what happened at that time that led to the Civil War, the division he's talking about, the ethnicity, all of that, and you compare until now, like he just mentioned Hassanana that he was in love with. Yeah, Hassana.
I lost her because of ethnicity and tribalism.
We all have Hassanas that we could have maybe, but we're married now anyway. But talk to us basically. Have we really gotten over all of these?
I don't think so. And as a student of history, I think that war was the foundation for our division. Everything started with the divisions were there. We were never one people, but we came together and we started living together very peacefully, and we understood each other to a large extent. But the first coup and the counter coup was seen as one section of the country
against
the other.
Yeah.
Now,
so it wasn't about Nigeria.
it wasn't about
sense.
Nigeria.
No.
Okay.
So, and if the actors at that time are taking proactive measures to discipline and to be seen, not just to be fair, to be seen to be fair in punitive measures, I think we won't be here where we are today. Right. That's one. Number two is we didn't learn from history. Even after the war, what was done? Was there any integration, strategic integration process?
Deliberate.
I saw a video on a news platform yesterday. People are still reeling from the pains of the war. In Enugu, we have a camp whereby those people were now absorbed back into the military. Some lost limbs, and they are still pained because they didn't give them anything, and some of them stay by the roadside just to beg for alms to survive. So those are the things.
Even the abandoned property phenomenon has not been properly handled and all of that.
So a lot of all those things are
all right.
And
all right. Well, I think the point there is, if we have to move towards a full reconciliation where we have to keep these issues of civil war behind us and move on as one nation that we have called ourselves, what would all those things be?
Well, we still lack what I would technically call sincerity of purpose. Right. One of the things that was done was to bring about there's this I've gotten the technical name now, whereby offices, admissions are allocated to ethnic groups.
The federal character?
Federal character, God bless
federal
you.
Character.
Instead of
catchment areas.
Catchment areas for admissions, and then federal character for employment.
The same thing.
But it's based on states, not necessarily ethnic groups.
When you say states, the ethnic groups, they know where they are in the states.
Okay, within the states.
So within the states, yeah. So it will be absurd to say there's an ethnic group for the Igbo in Ogun State, for instance.
Okay.
So all of those
things, that have to be addressed.
They were brought in to ameliorate all the losses, persuade people, erase the pain. But what happened? Those who were asked to implement those things, they didn't do it with the fear of God at the back of their minds. So much that today we still cry marginalization from the north to the south, to the east and to the west.
All right. We have to leave it here now. I hope that we'll be able to get over all of those things that cause pains in the mind of people sometimes. Olade Dario, thank you for coming on the program. Shijibumi Adebi Bennett, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Right.
It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio two public affairs analysts, Olade Dario and Shijibumi Adebi Bennett. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Shijibumi, I think I would say Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. It's been a while.
Yes, definitely, but welcome. All right, we'll start the paper review this morning with the story on the front page of News Direct, Why we are upbeat on 3,005 megawatts Mambila Power Project, BMO, as Buhari approves Inter-Ministerial Steering and Project Delivery Committee. And to the front page of the Daily Times now, Ganduje, Tambuwal or Tom, 3 others no fate today, as Supreme Court delivers rulings on appeals. Tension in Autumn, Gmay's camp in Makurdi. On the front page of the Blueprint, perjury. I was tried but not convicted in U.S. Omo Agege, quit office now, coalition of youth, CSOs insists. To the Daily Trust, Nigerians to pay more taxes as Buhari signs finance bill and the income tax, electricity tariff to go up. We have the lowest VAT rate in Africa, experts. On the front page of the Nation newspaper, 7.5% VAT kicks off as Buhari signs finance bill. TIN now compulsory for bank accounts holders. Implementation to wait till Gazette. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, 50 years after, let's revisit issues that caused civil war. Gowon Shoyinka Anya Utomi Akintoye say war is horrible. Nigerians must never fight each other again. Interesting stories on the front page of the newspaper this morning. But gentlemen, we'll be looking at the story on the front page of the Nation newspaper, talking about the president's signing the finance bill into law. 7.5% VAT kicks off. Tough time ahead for Nigerians?
Tougher times.
Tougher times?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, it's not a secret.
Of course.
That the people are largely impoverished. It's not a secret that life has become a lot tougher than it was a few years back. So the question is, on what platform the government now standing to insist on increasing the tax burden of a beleaguered people? Okay? The whole idea behind this is to generate...
Well, the government is trying to generate revenue.
More income.
In the interest of Nigerians, to deal with issues of infrastructure. Because, like it is said, 85% of what is gained or generated from this tax will be given to states. And it will be used to drive, infrastructure and development. So isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, before it became 7.5, when it was 5%, and of course, the same thing was being done, as in the states were being given their own portion. How much of development are the states giving to the people? I would rather they start looking at reducing costs, eliminating wastages. It's either way, as against now saying you must up the income. Because so much money has gone into all of these things before, and we have nothing to, or next to nothing to show for them. So I'm never going to be in support of all of this. The man that said we are the least, our VAT
absolutely, that's the argument in Africa.
It's not about Africa. You must look at your community from a perspective of where you are. You don't go comparing your family to another family, because the indices are different, the facts are different. I don't know what to think about that.
That's why I need to bring him in now. What do you make of this? We shouldn't have increased tax, but rather reduce cost of governance and block wastages.
At the end of the day, when you look at the underlying reason, you don't have any choice than to just allow it to be. We are not saying
allow it to be.
Yes, we are not saying we are not saying it's laudable, but you have to know that when the wage increase happened, so many governors did not want to increase the minimum wage. Absolutely. And in the last 7 days, we still had issues with the NLC also taking up on some governors. They have not even instituted.
They have a January 31st deadline.
Yes, the committee. Today is January 14th. And December 31st was the first deadline.
The first deadline, yes.
So they have not even instituted a committee to interface with
labor.
Now, what did the federal government do? You know, they boxed the federal government to a corner because the federal government wanted the wage increase to happen. Now, what they did was, you have to tell revenue mobilization and fiscal to adjust the 52% going to the federal government and spread more to the state.
Because it is a way of collecting the money.
Because that would take a lot of time.
Wow.
That would take some time. So a committee of experts was set up. We can remember the Bismarck one and all of that. So they had to think about how more money can get to the states. So we have to also inform that 80% of this money is going to the states.
Yes, that was what you said, 85%.
85%. So it's not a federal government benefit.
It's a state government.
It's the state's benefit. And in Nigeria, what do? We focus on the federal government too much. We don't focus on what is going into the states. So, and there was something, for the federal government, they have their own shortcomings.
Absolutely.
Because last year, there was a report from CBN that the first quarter, the total online transactions hit 30-something trillion. And I said, if there are figures like this, then we should have the number of transactions that were corporate transactions, that were not individual private saving transactions. So knowing that we will be able to calculate the amount of stamp duties. So because there is no transparency, there is no sincerity. Because what we make from stamp duties, POS charges and all that
is huge.
But we also have to ask our banks. Then on the final note, I also want to implore the federal government, because they did something maybe to alleviate, because from 10,000 now downwards, you don't pay stamp duty.
Yes.
Then they made sure that 25 million, if your turnover is 25 million as an SME, you're not paying company tax. So they should do more. Because that's just to alleviate and just to
in
to
what
appease,
aspect?
to appease the people and appease the states.
I would have preferred they introduce luxury tax.
Yes, spread the tax debt.
I mean, as in tax luxury goods a lot more. Number two, states are better encouraged to bring more people into their tax net with minimal, tax rate, whereby the Okada rider can pay something on a regular basis.
For you, what would be the appropriate tax rate?
The people who run the system, they have their way of calculating. I'm not a tax man.
I know, but if you are to put a rate to it,
it shouldn't be more than 5%. Because we are talking of the lower rung of the ladder now, so that we don't end up injuring their already wounded financial state. Do you understand me?
yes.
In Lagos, for instance, less than 20 people living in Lagos pay tax. And all of them enjoy the infrastructures so much that a lot are overstretched. But if this is done naturally, and in any case, this VAT thing brings inequality. In Lagos, they drink a lot of alcohol here, and that will bring massive VAT. States where they have banned alcohol will partake in sharing the money coming from here. Oh, yes. So it is not balanced.
It's not balanced.
It's injustice.
All right. We'll have to leave it here now, gentlemen. Thank you for your contribution on the newspaper review.
Let's get into the papers now, see what the headlines are, and I have with me in the studio Oladinde Ario as well as Shijibomi Adebi Bennett. Gentlemen, nice to see you both.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Let's begin with News Direct. News Direct is where we start from this morning. Why we are upbeat on 3,005 megawatts Mambila power project. That's BMO is saying this as Buhari approves interministerial steering and project delivery committee. Certainly my guests will be interested in talking about this as we get along. Now from there we go to the Daily Times. Daily Times says Ganduje, Tambawal, Otom, 3 others no fate today as Supreme Court delivers rulings on appeals. Tension in Otom Jime's camp in Makurdi in Benue State. Certainly we spoke with our correspondent not long ago, and there's a gathering at the Supreme Court already awaiting the delivery of the rulings. From there, let's go to the blueprint. He's focusing on perjury. I was tried but not convicted in the U.S. Omoagege is saying this as a deputy Senate president. Quit office now. Coalition of youths, CSOs insist. Okay, from there, let's go to the Daily Trust. Daily Trust says Nigerians to pay more taxes as Buhari signs finance bill. Income tax, electricity tariff to go up. We have the lowest VAT rate in Africa. Experts are revealing this. So there's no cost for alarm from that window. From there, let's go to the Nation newspaper now. Nation newspaper says 7.5% VAT kicks off as Buhari signs finance bill. A TIN now compulsory for bank account holders, and implementation to wait till Gazette. Okay, and then that's the final paper now we're looking at is the Vanguard. And the Vanguard is focusing on something else. 50 years after, let's revisit issues that caused a civil war. Gowon, Shoyinka, Anya, Utomi, and Akintoye are saying this. They say war is horrible. Nigerians must never fight each other again. That's the advice there. Okay. Gentlemen, the issue on the News Direct certainly would interest you. The Mambila Power Project has been on for many years.
Oh, so you know.
Many years, of course. For so many years. And regime after regime, monies are pumped into the Mambila project. There's certainly a lot of people are asking questions. What is this Mambila project that it never really gets done? And monies are being pumped into it. But now that the president has set up a steering and project delivery committee, maybe there's going to be a difference.
Just maybe. Mandela has in company Delta Sea Complex. It has gone totally moribund. Ajakuta is also there. Aluscon. Aluscon.
Okay.
The aluminium smelting company is also there. Now, for me, it's not yet Uhuru for Mambila. So much has gone into Mambila, whereas nothing has come out of it. The plateau is just grassland that cannot accommodate any tree to grow. So the flow is guaranteed. I don't know what now made it become rocket science that over the years it's been guzzling money.
A lot of money.
Without giving back. So you didn't tell me what new thing has been brought to the table now that will guarantee success. Okay. I'm no longer excited reading this kind of news.
Okay. Now,
maybe Shubomi is.
Maybe Now, the last time Babajide Kolade Otitoju of TVC went there to see things for himself and brought back videos. In fact, there was no road to the place, no appropriate road to the place, and they had to, cars can't get there. They had to get through bikes and then through some navigation, through streams and, and all of that to get there. But the federal government is saying, of course, right now we're ready to do this. Well, how hopeful are you?
Maybe 25% hopeful.
Okay, but at least 25% is good. It's
good
enough.
Because
that won't pass jam.
One thing I will commend this government for is when they want to do something, they go for it.
Underline the word when.
When,
okay.
Yes. The only thing is finance.
Okay.
Do we have the capacity? A country that is finding it very difficult to pay workers' salaries, that is finding it difficult to do anything. If you want to, you have to borrow money from abroad to do the few improvements we saw in the rail project. So that's my concern. And the government has not changed its stance in terms of PPP. Let private people come in with their money. Let them do stuff and let us pay for it. Okay. We've seen samples, little samples everywhere. Lekki Expressway is there. It's being told. In as much as people will complain that maybe the towing, the value is too much or something, but they're driving on good roads. And the best cars to buy for people that buy second-hand and all that, cars maybe from that area of the where, because you don't want to go and buy cars from the people living very close to Ogun State, whereby the roads are bad. So these are the things the government, this is the mainland the government should do.
Okay. Now, a lot of Nigerians are still talking about the renewable energy and other areas that can generate electricity and power, especially when you talk about wind energy, solar energy, instead of investing so much. Because when you come to how much goes into building a dam, how much goes into turbines and all of that, it's quite more expensive than deploying technology for solar.
Before we even get to that point, there's this phenomenon in Nigeria of no consequence. Some people were in charge of Mambila power plant over the years.
Yes.
Imagine journalists went there was no access road. And I may not have my specific figures, but if you try to find out, it will be in the range of millions of naira.
Dollars.
Or billions, or dollars. Why can't government step back a little bit, put up a pro panel, let's ask questions, and whoever is found wanting or guilty should be sent for trial. They should have their day in the court. Otherwise, this new venture may just end up like the rest.
The same way.
And like you said, a professor just told us that every source of power is good source. The world has left that level. Everybody is talking of renewable energy. Why are we indifferent? Why can't we follow that trend? I mean, this is Southern Africa, where we have good quality sun. Why don't we tap into all of that? Why must it be the same hydro power system again?
All right. It's okay. We hope that the appropriate authorities and those concerned, but most especially the committee that has been set up by the government.
I just have a question before we round up. Must we spend 16, 20 years on a project? Is it a cost?
Well, but that is what the government is trying to correct. If you ask me.
But
So let's leave it here.
Lagos Ibadan is taking 20
as part of
something
the
years.
correction plan.
Let's leave it here.
Let those who got us to where we are
Yes,
get punished.
it's all right. Well, the Bini are already still there. It's been there for more than
Lagos
20
Ibadan
years.
is still there.
All right, thank you very much, Ladi Diario, for coming on the program. Bumi Adebi Bennett.
I will help you with that.
Thank you very much.
Let me sue him or
My head is choked right now. All right, thank you for watching.